Hi, my name is Aaron, and I work here at Waterloo Gardens in the greenhouse, and today we're going to have a lot of fun. We'll be creating terrariums. And a terrarium is a miniature landscape and a unique garden, and they make excellent gifts and are great for the home. They're all different sorts of containers to use when making a terrarium, and just about anything works, but glass works the best. Two different types, open lid, and also ones with a closed lid. Now the key to creating a terrarium is to do it in layers. First we start with a layer of gravel, coarse sand, or lava rocks, which we put on the bottom to aid in drainage for the terrarium. Next we add a layer of charcoal, which keeps the soil fresh in the terrarium. And then we can use a layer of sphagnum moss, which helps keep the soil from settling down on the bottom. The next layer will be the potting soil, and adding potting soil will work fine. Although if you're doing a cactus or succulent garden, it's best to use cactus soil. When making the selection for your plants for your terrarium, first of all, make sure that they're small enough to fit in so that the leaves are not touching the sides of the container. Otherwise, they may rot and damage your plants. Get plants that have different sizes, textures, and colors. Now, before I do any sort of planting in the terrarium itself, I always like to take my plants and just arrange them, just so I can get a better idea of how they're actually going to look, and it gives me a better idea of what the final design is going to look like. Now for the fun part. Now we are ready to get our hands dirty. First, we're going to start with our layer of gravel. And again, it's just going to be a very thin layer. The next layer is going to be the charcoal. And the next layer is going to be the sphagnum moss. And you just soak it in warm water. It's easier to wet it with warm water. And you just want to wring out any excess moisture from it. Of course, the next layer now is going to be the potting soil. Just pack it down lightly, and it should be at least 1 to 2 inches. Don't need much. And what's fun about it is you can shape it just about any way that you want. The idea is to just create a little landscape. So you can almost have like little hills or valleys in it. Just use your imagination. So now that I have my layer of soil there, I'm going to take my first plant, the biggest one, and it's always good to start out with the bigger plants first. It's just going to make it much easier to arrange the rest of the plants. And just loosen the soil just a little bit. Dig my little hole. And again, just packing down the soil just very lightly, just around the plant. Make sure it's stable. Then I'm going to take my next largest plant and just work my way down in layers. And with some plants, if you choose to, you can actually just split them. Or if you just want to leave them as one big clump. But I always like to split them if I can, just so that way I have more plants in there. And if the container is big enough, you can actually get your hands in there. It's best utensil, or you can just use a little spoon just to dig your hole. And depending on the size of the container, usually about 3 plants and no more than 5. Now that I have all my plants arranged and the design is the way I want it, I can just add a little character to it, adding maybe just pebbles or pieces of bark, little bits of stone, or even something sentimental, just add a personal touch to it. Now once you have completed your terrarium, the care of it is very easy. Watering it, you can just use a small watering can, or my personal favorite, just a spray bottle, and they just mist it. Now they don't need a lot of water, which is a great thing about terrariums, especially if it's a closed lid terrarium. But if you have too much water in it, what will happen is you'll get a lot of condensation. So if that happens, just open the lid and just let it air out for about a day, and that'll get rid of any fog that builds up. Do not fertilize your terrariums, otherwise the plants are just going to get too big, and the point is to just keep them really small. Although you will have to go in from time to time to do some little pruning, just cut off anything that gets too leggy, or just pinch it, and take off any blossoms on flowers. That wraps it up, and I hope you've had as much fun as I have, and thank you very much.